want to make sure that any other folks in opposition? I'm seeing none. Okay. No other folks in opposition. I think we've had a pretty thorough, I think pretty comprehensive hearing with regards to the nomination of Ms. Sharoma. Colleagues, any other last questions? I want to make sure it's out of your system.
What was the gist of the workers? What were they saying?
The gist of the workers is they felt there was discrimination. There was the issue of the last election, and they didn't feel that the votes were counted, and they want the votes to be counted. That's pretty much a synopsis. They want the votes to be counted. I can't tell you I have the expertise with regards to this specific case, so I just going to give you the literal translation. They want the votes counted without any value judgment to the outcome of this specific election, whether one's for it or against it, they're for the outcome or against the outcome, whether they want to rectify it or not. But they felt that's what they felt. That's my logic. Okay. So with that, can I get a motion for the motion for Ms. Sharoma? We have a motion. We have a motion made by Ms. Leyva. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senators Berryhill? No. Berryhill, no. Leyva? Aye. Leyva, aye. Mitchell? Aye. Mitchell, aye. Canella? No. Canella, no. DeLeon? Aye. DeLeon, aye.
By a razor-thin margin, hanging off that cliff with your fingernails, you pass on a 3-2 vote. You will go to the Senate floor. I'm sure that, hearing the voices in opposition, that there'll be a lot of engagement from this point forward, obviously, with members of the Senate on both sides of that aisle. I would highly recommend that you engage with all senators, both Republicans as well as Democrats, as your motion moves forward for a full vote before the Senate. With that, congratulations, Ms. Sharoma.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Chairman.
Okay.
Members.
Okay, colleagues, we're going to move still, because we're on file item number 2. We're going to go with Mr. Kevin Chappelle, Commissioner Board of Parole Hearings. That is Mr. Chappelle. Where's Mr. Chappelle? Are you Mr. Chappelle? Mr. Chappelle, welcome. Mr. Chappelle, welcome. If there's any loved ones, any family members you'd like to introduce, please do so. We'll hear your statement, and then from there we'll go to questions, answers, and commentaries from the members themselves.
Thank you. Yes, I would like to introduce my 18-year-old son, Ryan, who's here in the audience.
Welcome, young man. Welcome. Fantastic.
So, good afternoon, Mr. Chair and Senators. I'd like to take this opportunity to express my gratitude for allowing me to sit before you as part of this confirmation process for Commissioner Board of Parole Hearings. It's truly an honor to have been considered for this position. I would also like to take this time to publicly thank Governor Brown for this appointment. As you may know, I served the state of California for 27 years. I began my career as a correctional officer at Folsom State Prison, and I am proud to say that I ended my career as the warden at San Quentin State Prison. I believe that my experience and background with the department have provided me the requisite qualities for being successful as a Board of Parole Hearings Commissioner. One of my greatest achievements was my career with the state of California and the work I did to promote the safety of the citizens of the state. I was proud to serve the state of California with humility and respect. It is truly an honor to have this opportunity to continue serving the people of the state of California. As a commissioner, I believe I have a clear understanding of the parole suitability process, and I have been trained to follow the law in reaching a fair and impartial decision. During my career with the department, and especially when I served as a warden, I had firsthand exposure to how instrumental rehabilitative programs were in effectuating positive change in offenders. The eventual goal of incarceration is rehabilitation. Oftentimes, there may have been one or more extenuating circumstances or factors in the form of substance abuse and or lack of education which contributed to a criminal offense. It is critical that we avail offenders to programs that provide them the skills and resources necessary to assist them in reintegrating and becoming productive and law-abiding citizens of their communities. Additionally, programs that assist parolees with continued self-help and programs that provide training on how to search for employment, prepare resumes, complete job applications, and interview skills, to name a few, are critical to an offender's continued success. I believe rehabilitative opportunities reduce the risk that offenders will commit new offenses post-release, which in turn keeps the public safe. So I hope to continue to serve the state of California in a fair, thorough, and objective manner in the parole suitability determination of offenders. I will be diligent and adhere to the laws and rules which oversee what I consider to be this very crucial process of the criminal justice system. In closing, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Chair and Senators, for your time and permitting me this opportunity to share my background, experience, and qualifications. It is truly an honor to sit in front of you, and I look forward to answering your questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chappelle. Thank you for your statement. We'll start with Senator Leiva.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. Good afternoon, Mr. Chappelle.
Good
First,
afternoon.
let me say thank you very much for being willing to take on this position. I think it's a very hard job. Just two questions. You mentioned being a warden. How do you think that shapes your view of inmates when they come up for parole? How do you think maybe you have a different perspective than someone on the board who has not been a warden?
I see. I'd say my total experience, yes, being a warden was very important, but I think it's my total experience with the department, from being a correctional officer all the way up. I have had the opportunity to, I'd say, evaluate inmate behavior, inmate attitudes, different characteristics, in all the different classifications that I was in. I think it would serve me well with all the training that I've developed in all my positions.
I would agree with you. I think you have great experience. When considering parole, how much weight do you put on an inmate's participation in rehabilitation programs, or specifically a specific rehabilitation program? Is that important to you?
It's very important. I put a considerable weight to that. Of course, there was a antisocial, if you will, type of behavior that brought the inmate into incarceration. So when I look at the rehabilitative programs, I look to make sure that the programs actually match the behavior. And when I'm looking at an individual in front of me, I'm looking for current dangerousness. And by evaluating that, I'm looking at the behavior that got him to prison. And is he or she that same person that's sitting in front of me today? And I look at the rehabilitative programs to see if the programs matched up with the type of behavior.
Very good. Thank you very much. No more questions, Mr. Pro Tem.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Leiva. Mr. Berryhill.
Again, I want to thank you for coming up to the office. We had a great conversation. I think you're a great pick for this spot, and I'd like to move his confirmation at the proper time.
Thank you, Mr. Berryhill. Mr. Vice Chair.
Mr. Chappelle, I enjoyed our meeting earlier, and I appreciated your answers. I have no further questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Ms. Mitchell.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pro Tem. Good afternoon again. Good afternoon. As the parent of an 18-year-old young man, I'm sure you can fully appreciate the research that informed SB 260 and 261 that acknowledges the fact the diminished culpability of juveniles as compared to adults.
Correct.
As parents of teenagers, we know that there are not many adults. They're kids on their own developmental kind of spectrum. Given that, how do you approach youthful offender cases, and do you approach them any differently from those of adult offenders?
Yes, I do. I look at their social history, their background. And I look at the circumstances of their criminal history, including the life crime. And I look at those factors. I look at the factors of was it an impulsive act? Was it an act committed under peer pressure? I look at it as an act of, was it an act of immaturity? And then I match it up with their institutional adjustment. And were those factors still present during their incarceration, or did they evolve and stop committing acts of impulsivity, or they were not being led by peer pressure? So yes, I do take those factors into strong consideration when reviewing those cases.
And I appreciate that 260, the Hancock bill, was just passed in 2013. So this really is the whole great weight process by which these characteristics of youthful offenders are being counted. I appreciate it's new, and I appreciate the fact that you've had very specific training with regard to how to deal with the adolescent brain in these cases. Is it your sense that the entire parole board has had that same training, that everybody is kind of approaching the youthful offender circumstance with the same level of training and perspective?
Yes, I say it is my view. Quite often, we are trained whenever there is a change in law, change in policy. We're thoroughly trained, and so I'd say yes, it is my view that all of the commissioners
Have that training?
Yes.
Because it does really reflect a culture shift in terms of our broader attitude around youthful offender. My second and last question, Mr. Pro Tem, will really kind of go to the other end of this spectrum with regard to medical and elderly parole. We've heard a number of bills since I've been in the legislature, particularly around medical parole. Some have been successful, most have not. So what factors do you consider unique specifically with regard to the medically incapacitated inmate populations? And how do you take these factors into account when determining suitability for parole?
I see. Well, we look at, when we're reviewing cases of expanded medical parole, we take into account medical status, and we match it up to the inmate's risk of offending in a violent manner. It's a very, very hard decision, very challenging, because sometimes you may have inmates that haven't received or haven't embraced that rehabilitative process. However, their medical status is such where they are in need of a higher level of medical treatment. So it's like I said, it's a really difficult decision to make. But I have to take into their medical status and match it up with their ability to reoffend if they were out in a community facility.
Is it your sense that the directive from the legislature has been clear enough? I completely appreciate, given all of the variables that you must take into consideration, and I'm not second guessing that at all. But do you think the legislature has been clear enough in our direction, or the court for that matter, to create fewer variables in deciding which medically terminal patient is released and those that are not?
I think the legislature has been clear, and the training has been excellent that I've received. But I just go back to those are just very, very difficult cases, just based on the circumstances.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Ms. Pro Tem.
Thank you, Ms. Mitchell. Mr. Chappelle, let me ask you, I'm looking over your qualifications, and I'm going to throw you perhaps a softball question.
Okay.
That's an open-ended question. Because I see your qualifications, and I could see it as a double-edged sword. A double-edged sword because you're the embodiment of the institution itself. Okay? You come from the culture of the corrections. You're an annuitant, or you were an annuitant, or you are currently an annuitant right now as a retired person. Your recent stint full-time was obviously warden of the famous San Quentin prison,
Yes.
something that lives beyond, it's larger than life, if you will, in the psyche of America, you know, in terms of the history of San Quentin. So you were the former warden there, and obviously deputy warden at Folsom, and you've been there since either 1995, if I'm correct, in various positions within the correctional facilities.
Actually, it's
Institute.
1987.
1987, okay, a little further, even further, okay, okay, gotcha. 1987. So, that being said, you know more about this, or you have forgotten more about this than probably all of us combined know. So that you know you have an extra insight, a better insight through experience, through many years. Who's there, who games the system, who doesn't game the system, who's highly sociopathic in terms of manipulative individuals, those who with intention say, I want to improve my life, I don't want to be part of the gang lifestyle, I want to go into these programs to show, improve, and quantify, if you will, when the opportunity is before me to be before a parole board, that I can actually prove that I'm trying and I'm struggling, but I'm trying to get on that pathway for a better life. Because what you said is the antisocial behavior in some form, way, or shape got you into this situation. And a lot of tough breaks, if you will, too, with laws that this legislative body have passed, have taken a lot of discretion away from the judiciary, you know, branch of government, where whatever the judge wants to give, because we have added penalty among penalty and enhancement upon enhancement that whether you like it or not, they're with you for 20, 25 years. For perhaps a decade or a generation ago, there was a 7-year, you know, prison term, but now it's become a 21, 25-year prison term. Because, and I think Ms. Mitchell made reference to the issue of poverty and race, and you're a person of color, obviously, and the issue of who gets access to justice and who doesn't, what the racial makeup is of our correctional facility today. So, and you made reference to rehab programs, and I don't know the rehabilitation programs, if there are enough programs from within the system itself for folks who want to make that proactive move and say, I want to be on this pathway right here, because I don't want to be here. I want to get out, you know, and I don't want to be a victim of recidivism. Once I get out, I don't ever want to come back in, you know, and even though we know that a lot of resources need to be invested to make sure that individual does not come back, you know, and hopefully, knock on wood, with the non-nons and with the realignment, as bumpy as it is in some ways, but this learning process, how we look, we assess, we figure this out, and we make the course corrections that are necessary, because obviously this costs way too much money. This is a waste of money for us as a legislature, pouring so much money into the prison system when we can do so, you know, and get these kids to UCLA or Cal State LA or elsewhere. Now, that being said, is it a double-edged sword? Because you're the former warden of San Quentin, you are the embodiment of the institution itself. You come across as a very nice fellow, by the way. You're very nice.
Thank you, appreciate that.
You're very nice, you know? You're very nice. So this is a softball question. This is an open-ended question for you to answer.
Okay.
Is it good that you be on this parole board? Or
Is it good for me to be on the
No, well,
parole
not for
board?
you. I'm talking about for California. Is it good that you be on this parole board? What insights do you provide? Because
I
obviously-
believe so.
Okay.
I believe so. Quite often, the
Do you
general.
understand what my just one coming from?
I want to make sure. When you say double-edged sword, are you referring to, because I've been embodied into the institution?
Exactly, yes,
Can I be
yes,
a
yeah.
fair hearing officer?
Yes.
Or would I be biased? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something maybe similar to the whole polarizing debate we had with LRB and Ms. Sharoma, you know? You know?
Yes. Well,
Reverse. You're Ms. Sharoma in reverse, you know, in the parole.
okay. So my thoughts are, you know, quite
Yes,
often.
Nettie, yes.
Quite often, when the general public looks at a correctional staff member or a warden, they look at the warden as, well, he or she is a person that's a lock them up and throw away key type person, and that doesn't believe in rehabilitation. And the position is quite different than many think. There's been many times where I've had to evaluate, had to be a fair, impartial hearing officer, whether it's I'm in the classification committee, and I'm looking at releasing an individual from administrative segregation. I had a past position as the chief of classification services, where I've sat on the departmental review board hearings where I evaluated offenders going into and coming out of the security housing unit facilities. So I had to be fair and impartial in dealing with those individuals. I couldn't be a person that's just biased, because it wouldn't work. That's when the lawsuits come. That's not my personality. I pride myself on having integrity, and I've applied that to all my positions. So I think I'm going to be a great hearing officer because of that experience. I guess I'll stop there, but
I say this because, given the fact that the governor has appointed you, nominated you, you're in a unique position given the breadth of experience, years, knowledge that you've accumulated over several decades, working with corrections until recently as the warden
Yes.
of San Quentin. And when we look at this, not in a bifurcated or siloed, compartmentalized way, but organically, we don't want folks who don't belong on the street harming community. And at the same time, we see what the circumstances are that drive certain people, and then the judiciary branch and the prosecutorial branch, and then you're there because you're the receiver. You are the receiver. How they got there is not your decision. You know that you have to house them and take care, manage, everybody, your administrative staff, CCPOA, psychologists, psychiatrists, everyone, from soup to nuts, the whole thing. And then the safety of the prisoners, the safety of the workers, and hopefully when you send them off, hopefully they're not coming back, and we know what the recidivism rate is in the aggregate. So, this is something that we collectively do work together. The parole board, the administration, the members of the legislative branch, both Democrats as well as Republicans, and how do we make sure we can lower the recidivism rate for those who are deserving, obviously for those who we believe, you just don't open the door, I understand that. For those who we believe have a really good shot with the wraparound supported services to make sure that they land, and it's going to be bumpy and rocky, but they don't veer off too far this way or that way to make sure they end up back, into the system, because as we know, it costs so much money. It crushes and destroys families, tears them apart. We know what will happen with young men in particular who are fatherless. You know this.
Yes.
You've seen it.
Yes.
You've seen it time and again. I just believe that you're in a very unique, situation, given your position, and how you use your power and authority will be very important to, I think, to California. I really do mean it.
Thank you.
I really do mean it. Not coming in with a set, rigid mindset that it's already preordained what the decision making is going to be.
Right.
To peel all the layers and the nuances and the complexities of this human being and all the circumstances that got him, into the system to begin with, So I appreciate you answering the questions. I'm going to ask folks who are in support of today's nominee, Mr. Chappelle, to come on up. Those who are in support of the nominee, Mr. Kevin Chappelle.
Having been here before, I'm realizing I talk very fast.
And you're going to give us a synopsis of that right there?
Yes.
Okay, a synopsis of that
Yes.
page, okay.
Thank you, Senators. My name is Vanessa Nelson Sloan. I'm the Director of Life Support Alliance. We're a nonprofit advocacy for life-term prisoners and their families, and our mission has been to expand it to include those determinate sentence prisoners who now come under youth and elder parole as well. We have frequently spoken at these hearings, voicing our support or opposition for a candidate based on an emotion or hearsay, but on fact, after research and attending hearings and reading transcripts, and also speaking with individuals who have interacted with the appointee during their professional capacity. And such was the case in this instance. Our members have attended several of Commissioner Chappelle's hearings. We've read transcripts of a good many others, and we've had the opportunity to speak with many individuals who have worked with him during his many years at CDCR. On the whole, we support his confirmation, as we have found him to be reasonable and attentive during hearings and without a preset agenda. And he comes with modest but favorable comments from others within the CDCR system, including some inmates who interacted with him during his years in custody and also as the warden at San Quentin. In fact, one that I saw at Mule Creek 2 weeks ago told me Mr. Chappelle was a really good guy. We appreciate his understanding of prison politics and culture, which oftentimes defies logic, but nonetheless is a contributing factor to the behavior and attitude of many prisoners and thus affects their parole chances. And he is courteous and respectful to all parties in the parole hearing, which is not to say that we don't have some concerns. Mr. Chappelle seems to have found his sea legs, as it were, but some of his early hearings were a bit rough and exhibited areas that still appear and still cause us concern. In particular, Commissioner Chappelle habitually interrupts prisoners when they are answering questions, and while we understand the need to keep the hearings on track, this is a practice that makes it difficult for the inmates to present a cogent presentation, and is also a sign of impulsivity, which is not a good thing in an inmate or commissioner. We believe all parties would be better served if he were to read collateral documents more thoroughly prior to the hearing and developed a greater understanding of how mental defect and disability impacts an inmate's ability to respond both to programming and at the parole hearing, and also the utility and impact of longer parole denial lengths on a prisoner's resolve to continue programming. But, to borrow phraseology from the parole hearings, we believe Mr. Chappelle's positive factors outweigh his negative factors, and thus we are in support of his confirmation on this, his initial consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any other folks in support of today's nominee, Mr. Chappelle? Seeing no other folks in support. Those in opposition? Seeing no opposition, can I get a motion? We have a motion made by Ms. Leyva. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senators Berryhill? Berryhill, aye. Leyva? Leyva, aye. Mitchell? Mitchell, aye. Cannella?
Aye.
Cannella, aye. DeLeon?
Aye.
DeLeon, aye.
Mr. Chappelle, congratulations. You pass on a unanimous vote, 5-0. We wish you the best of luck as you go to the Senate floor. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, we got one last one. I don't think he's going to be controversial at all. Let's bring up Mr. Robert Schmidt. Mr. Robert Schmidt, if you can introduce any loved ones, friends, and we'll go into a brief statement, and then we'll go to any questions or answers or commentaries if the members have any.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce my daughter, Lillian Schmidt, and my colleagues, George Akiyama and Mike Nguyen.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman DeLeon and members of this committee for this opportunity. I'm very grateful to the governor for this appointment and look forward to serving as the Chief of Office of Technology Services. As Chief, my primary goals are to improve services while delivering the best value, make government more standardized and efficient for California and its people, and to ensure the data that is entrusted to us. Since my appointment last September, we have expanded our cloud service offerings, increased our customer base, and reduced our rates. There is still more planning and work to be done to continue to improve upon the services we provide to the people of California. There are many initiatives underway, but for sake of time, I'll highlight just 3 of my top priorities. Security. Require our citizens to give us their personal and sensitive information. I'm responsible for securing that information at the data center. Reliable services. Each day, our Office of Technology Services is bringing government services directly to our citizens. Third, innovation. Through educating our workforce, collaborating with our customers, as well as partnering with the Silicon Valley, we are keeping up with current technology and sharing that back with our customers. Finally, I believe in responsibility and accountability. If there's a problem with the Office of Technology Services, I'm responsible and ultimately accountable. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Schmidt. Questions, commentaries from the members? I see none from Ms. Leyva. Mr. Berryhill is good. Mr. Vice Chair? Ms. Mitchell? Questions or commentaries? No?
I would have delightful conversation all about the Cal Cloud and any number of other resources and supports available to Californians online that I was embarrassed to say I didn't know about. I have no further questions.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mitchell. You seem like a very exciting candidate. I watched how you sat there through the nominations of the other individuals, so you had me at that right there. Yeah. So with that, can I entertain a motion? We have a motion. Oh, that's right. Those who are in support of today's nominee, Mr. Schmidt, I'm seeing no support for you right now. Sorry. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Those who are in opposition, no opposition. Ms. Leyva, I don't know if you had a question or commentary. None. You're good. Okay. With that, we do have a motion made by Mr. Berryhill. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senators Berryhill? Berryhill, aye. Leyva? Aye. Leyva, aye. Mitchell? Aye. Mitchell, aye. Canella? Aye. Canella, aye. DeLeon?
Aye.
DeLeon, aye.
Mr. Schmidt, congratulations. You passed on a 5-0 vote. Thank you very much. Thank you. You came very well prepared. You came very well. So I'm going to ask folks if they could be so kind enough to leave the room. We're going to go into an executive session right now. Thank you so much.